I think it was President Trump who said, others have echoed this, but I think it was President Trump who said that Jesus Christ himself couldn't be elected speaker under the Republican-controlled House. It might make you chuckle at first, but when you stop and think about it, the Savior would never be considered by the Democrat Party, and it's the elemental fact that plagues the GOP, because that party has no core, no values, no principles that they all stand for. The reason is because there is an unhealthy number of Republicans who are more aligned with Democrats by being on the wrong side of the issues that are harming most of our people. Voiceless GOP voters suffer absent a unified GOP. That's my focus in today's preamble. First things first, despite the unanimous vote today for Speaker, the dysfunction in the GOP has been an issue for a long time. The party has papered over these differences for decades. It came to a head with the election of President Trump. The Republican Party, through a combination of media pressure and out-of-touch donor class, has changed its emphasis. As the Democrats remain committed to the fall of the United States, our economy, our constitutional rights, the GOP has morphed from an opposition party to that into a party that seeks to win the approval and the praise of Democrats and their agents in the press. For years, the biased press has pushed bipartisanship as the goal when the GOP is in power, and they've pushed majority rule when the Democrats control things. And an alarming number in the GOP, they've bought into this double standard, hook, line, and sinker.
Is there any possibility of, I don't want to say coalition government, but is there any possibility that you're just going to need some kind of an arrangement that has Democratic support as well?
This is, discussed.
That's discussed. And because the GOP covets the approval of the Democrats, the GOP has become the guard dogs for the Democrats' profligate spending, their promotion of crime, of massive illegal immigration, and even the disgusting, vile, and virulent strain of Jew hatred that is now firmly ensconced in the Democrat Party. Here's Lindsey Graham, a Republican, rhetorically lunging at a Newsmax reporter for daring to ask Democrat senators to address their Jew hater problem.
It starts at home. And I'd like to ask any Democrat senator here that would like to speak to Rashida Tlaib. She still has a tweet up condemning Israel for a hospital attack.
We are here together, not to talk about the problems at home, which are many.
It's a fair question,
I've got my
Senator.
own view of what to say. You're not going to screw this up.
I'm not trying to screw it up.
Get this guy out of here. Now let me tell you.
I'm an Israeli.
Now, if you notice, the Democrats, including Ben Cardin there, all smiles as a Republican senator ran interference for the Democrats, preventing them from ever having to address their Jew hater caucus. That's just one of the reasons why the Democrats are laughing themselves silly at what they're dubbing the Chaos Caucus. In the wake of the embarrassing speaker fight, here's Jamie Raskin defending the IRS, an agency that has aided in the cover-up of tax issues with prominent Democrats, but is also the agency the Democrats wish to give money, power, and personnel to squeeze even more money out of an overtaxed American people.
But what we've got is one more hearing to beat up on the IRS as part of the program to deconstruct the administrative state, as Steve Bannon promised at the beginning of the Trump administration, and we're right in the throes of it. One can only regard with amazement that any member of the Republican Party today would lecture the commissioner of the IRS about efficiency or organization or anything else.
There's your Democrat Party, folks, pushers of an all-powerful administrative state, lording over your life. Now, time was the Republican Party would stand unified in stark contrast to that totalitarian overreach. But sadly, too many in the GOP have looked at the Democrat way of doing things and have said to themselves, hey, we can run that bloated Leviathan that is the federal government better than the Democrats can, losing their compass and accepting that which our people have never found acceptable. This has led to the GOP dysfunction and allowed the Democrats to mock the GOP and their voters.
Look at what the Republicans are saying about the Republicans today on Capitol Hill as we live through all of the reverberations of the Chaos Caucus. The world is burning around us. We're fiddling. We don't have a strategy. That's Representative Steve Womack, Republican from Louisiana. We're fractured, says a member of this committee, Representative Anna Luna from Florida. It's not a normal majority, says Representative Tom Cole, Republican of Oklahoma. Here's Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about the Republicans. This conference is absolutely broken. Here's Kevin McCarthy, who used to be Speaker before he was deposed by the Republicans. This is embarrassing for the Republican Party. It's embarrassing for the nation. Here's Representative David Joyce from Ohio, who probably sums it up best. We're a party that can't govern.
Where I can attest that Mr. Raskin there is almost always wrong on almost every policy. I don't think Mr. Raskin is wrong by calling the GOP the Chaos Caucus. America's problems are created by the Democrat Party and Democrats, but I can no longer say the GOP is the solution to those problems. I have only their actions, the GOP's actions, and enacted policies on which to make my judgment. The Karl Roves, Bill Kristols, and George Conaways of the world have always pushed the GOP to be a big tent party. And that's another way of saying, just be like Barack Obama. Be a blank slate. Be whatever you need to be to acquire and keep unchallenged power. And because the GOP has adopted the be everything to everyone mentality, they end up standing for nothing. Now, for those of you out there who are left identifying as a Republican, I ask, are you proud to identify as a Republican? And if not, what are you doing to make a change, to form a coalition somehow, to oppose the ruling class of Washington, one that is looking out for itself and not for our people?